Hey everyone, in this video we'll be covering some very basics of Notion text editing, formatting, playing around with layout, stuff like that. But if you're looking for some more advanced tips, you might still stick around because there is a couple of those. However, if you're more in a rush, there are, as usual, timestamps below so you can check those out. And with that, let's get straight into it. All right, let's start with some simple text formatting functions. We of course have the standard Command B for bold, Command U for underlining, and Command I for cursive, with of course on Windows these shortcuts instead of Command being with Control. But with Notion there's more fun for using hashtags for headings. So of course we have one hashtag for heading number 1, 2 for heading 2, and 3 for heading 3. We also can do toggles, which then allow us to hide a lot or just some text inside the toggle, which I find is very useful and one of the biggest advantages of Notion over Word or Google Docs, because you don't all the time want to be looking at all the text that's on the screen. That can get quite overwhelming. With toggles, you can simply hide what you don't want to be looking at. And finally, we also have toggle headings. We can either use this turn into function, or if you already have a heading and you use the shortcut for toggle, which is this bigger than sign, if you use it inside of a heading, it will turn that heading into a toggle. And if you inside the toggle make a shortcut for a heading, it will turn that toggle into a toggle heading. So that makes things easier. Then when we have ourselves some headings, we can also create a nice table of contents, which will of course show the structure exactly as the headings go. So headings of lower order are always nested under the heading of higher order until there's another heading of that order. That's simple enough. Now we can also very easily make lists in Notion. So we could again either turn this into bulleted list, or if we just make this shortcut dash and space, it will also turn into a list. With these Notion markdown commands is always the sign and then space that will turn the block into what you're trying to create. So if we did for the heading number 3 hashtags and immediately started writing, nothing happens. But now if I make space here, it will turn into these letters into heading number 3. Ta-da! And so that's how it works with all these markdown options. If we wanted to make a numbered list, we could just type any number, dot, and then space. Then the list continues with new numbers. Then we also can turn blocks of text into quotes, so that you get this pretty outline here so everyone can see that you're quoting something. Then you have triple dash for dividers to make the text easier to orient in. Another special block is callout, and as far as I know there's no shortcut for it, so we have to type it out with the slash command, slash, then start writing callout, and just press this. Then we get this special block. We can, the default here is a light bulb, like this, but we can change the icon to whatever we want. So for example, a plant, and drop text there. Just like this, and use this also for some special effects with our text. Another feature is hyperlinking. We can easily, let's do a bit of a self-promo, link address. We can easily just highlight text and then press Command V or Control V on Windows. And instead of replacing the text, as in many other text editors, you simply get this hyperlink, which I also find very handy. But with links to some outer resources, you don't have to just use hyperlinking. You can also create bookmarks or embeds. So if you just paste the link into an empty block, we'll get this option. This means that we just leave the text as it is. But if we press create bookmark, it will create this pretty button with some preview of what we're pasting. Or we could straight up embed the video, and then it will appear straight here in our page. You can also embed other things. And now let's actually switch this to full width. Oh, I did not want to have this so large, but never mind. You can also embed, of course, images. Command. Like so. And you can embed a lot of other things. As you see, there's a lot that you can embed in Notion. So that's perfect. Now that we've got embeds, we should also look at how you can easily create columns and reorder text in Notion. So with this image, if I can just grab these 6 dots, I can drag and drop it here. It will create a column. Now I can select these and drop them here. Like this. I can adjust the width of the columns, and you can also create nested columns, so columns within column. Let's say we want it here to break this down into 2 subcolumns. We first need to first we actually need to copy some text, then we need to create a page. This is a trick I learned from Thomas Frank, so shout out to him. By creating a page inside the page you're editing and creating the columns there, you can then return to the initial page. Now turn that page into either text, heading, anything that's not a page. And voila, as you see, you will get 2 pretty nested columns. So you can really adjust the layout how you want. Now the final block type we can look at is sync block, which is a block that will sync the content you drop into it across all the pages that the sync block appears in. So let's say if we used copy and sync and created again page here, now we just paste it, and as you can see it already has this red frame which tells us that it's a sync block. And now if we edit the heading here, it will appear on all the other instances of the sync block, like here. You could even have several sync blocks on the same page so that you can see in real time how it's changing. And you can of course use sync block for various purposes. I most often use it for sharing content on pages that are in two different databases. So typically when I have a task in my tasks database and the task is about writing something, and I know I will want to store that something also in my notes database, I would just create a sync block, create two pages, one in my notes database, one in my tasks database, create a sync block between them, and then I can just edit the content from wherever I want. Now let's look at some general options. First, we can change the style. There's not too many options, but still you can make it very, I would say, ugly. You can use a bit prettier style. I actually prefer the default, but these are your options. And you can also share whatever you just wrote by clicking share, switching this on. And here, if you want to use this as a collaborative document, you can of course turn these on. However, it will require whoever is editing or commenting to log into Notion, so it's not as accessible for just quick sharing and collaboration as, for example, Google Docs. But if you leave these off, you can still publish it to web so that others can look at it. Now here, usually before this Notion site, you will get some weird, I used to have cuddly boat there. So if you want to personalize it like this, you will go to settings, members, and in settings domain, you adjust whatever prefix you want to see there. So that's it. And now if we click share, we'll see here the custom prefix that we just set up. So now it's ready to be shared. One thing to keep in mind when sharing Notion pages is that whatever page or database that are part of the page that you're sharing will also be shared. Now, when I'm saying part of the page, I mean inline pages, not linked pages, not linked databases, but pages that are actually sub-pages or sub-databases. So this page that we just saw would be shared. And if we create an inline database, then all those pages inside the database will also be visible through the shared page. But if instead we create a linked database, then it won't be visible until I also share the database. So let's try that in an anonymous window that I've already had opened up here. can see that the first database that was inline is now visible, but the second one is not, because that was not part of the page. And so when we shared this page, it wasn't automatically shared. However, we can make it visible if we first navigate to the original page of the database and share that one to publish it to the web. Now, when we reload the anonymous window, this database will also be visible. So let's try that. And here, as you see, already visible. And I can open the pages, but I don't think we put anything in there. But we did put something here. So that's how sharing works. Good luck with your writing and blogging if you decide to go for that. If you like this video, please like and subscribe below. That's by far the best option for supporting this channel. Also, please let me know what you thought in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.